So as I read this story, and once again, like I said, it has to do with the theme of what does it take to fit in and fitting in. The first thing that I'm going to do is I as a reader, I'm going to chunk this for me. Okay, and the article basically kind of does it for me. So if I look at it, it's basically chunked. So I'm going to read this part first, see if I have any questions. Then I'm going to read this part second, see if I have any questions. Now, we're all different readers, so some of you, when you're reading, you might be able to read in longer chunks. But if you're reading your novels, okay, you shouldn't just be reading whole chapters and being like, okay, well, that's my chunk. Okay, but rather look within the chapters and say to yourself, okay, you know what, these 2 paragraphs, I'm going to read that and see if I have any questions. Then I'm going to read the next 2 paragraphs. So you have to figure out the best way to chunk for you. All right? So it starts off with, my clothes have failed me. I remember the green coat that I wore in 5th and 6th grades when you either danced like a champ or pressed yourself against a greasy wall, bitter as a penny toward the happy couples. So right there, I have a couple questions. All right, so the first question I have is, and I am actually writing it in question form. My annotation is going to be in a question form. So the first question I have is, how can clothes fail you? So on my little Post-it or in my notebook, this would be my first question. Now, what kind of question? What kind of question do you think this is? Is it a pondering? Is it a clarifying where the answer could be found in the book? Or do you think it's like one of those in your heads? Just say it if you know it. Yeah, this is an inferring one. So you know if it's an inferring question, it's going to be a little harder. Okay, so then I'm gonna say, I remember the green coat that I wore in 5th and 6th grades when you either danced like a champ or pressed yourself against a greasy wall, bitter as a penny toward the happy couples. Okay. So, who's confused on something? Or who has a question about something? Yes. It has to be in a question form.
What does it mean, like, the green coat he wore that made him dance like a champ?
What does it mean when he says what?
What does it mean when he says, I remember the green coat I wore in 5th and 6th grade when either you dance like a champ or pressed yourself against the music.
All right, but you know what the first part means. You remember the green coat that you wore in 5th and 6th grades, right? You know what that means. But when you either dance like a champ or press yourself against a greasy wall, like that whole part. So your question is like, what does this phrase mean, right? Okay. Would you say, is that a pondering where we can sit out here and it has more than one answer? If we went back and reread or read ahead, would we be able to find the answer? Or do we have to kind of use our brains to say, okay, or our schema to figure out what does it mean? So say it if you know it. Yeah, okay, so let's keep reading. So in your notebooks right now, I want you just to title this, Write the Jacket. And I'm going to read the second paragraph right here. And if you have any questions that come up, either a pondering question, it could be an in my head question or in the text question, and I want you to jot it down. All right? And if you tell me you have absolutely no questions, I'm assuming you totally understand every inch of this paragraph, right? Okay, our eyes should be up there. When I needed a new jacket, and my mother asked what kind I wanted, I described something like bikers wear, black leather and silver studs with enough, what is that word? Belts to hold down a small town. We were in the kitchen, steam on the windows from her cooking. She listened so long while stirring dinner that I thought she understood for sure the kind I wanted. The next day, when I got home from school, I discovered, draped on my bedpost, a jacket, the color of day-old guacamole. I threw my books on the bed and approached the jacket slowly, as if it were a stranger whose hands I had to shake. I touched the vinyl sleeve, the collar, and peeked at the mustard color lining. So jot down any questions you have. Write them down. All right, so some of the questions that you asked was, number 1, why did the mom not get him the jacket that he wanted? And what kind of question is that? Pondering. Another question, somebody said, what is guacamole? Do you think that is found, can we find the answer in the text?
No.
Okay, so what is that? Is it pondering or can we say, right, it's the in the head one. Okay, another question we had was, why did he approach the jacket slowly? Do you think that's a pondering or do you think that's in the text or in my head?
In the text.
You think it's going to come right and tell you, he approached the jacket slowly because, or you're going to have to use your schema to figure it out. Right, so it's in my head. So now let's read the next part and see if you have any additional questions. Let me just move it up. All right, so once again, it's chunked already for me. From the kitchen, Mother yelled that my jacket was in the closet. I closed the door to her voice and pulled at the rack of clothes in the closet, hoping the jacket on the bedpost wasn't for me, but my mean brother. See, right now, I'm confused because I thought the jacket was on his bed.
Yeah.
But there was a jacket on there, but it said it was in the closet. His jacket.
Okay, so for my confusion, like I'm going to put, I thought the jacket was on his bed.
There's a jacket on it's on his bedpost.
No, but he doesn't say that it's his jacket.
Okay, so what I would do to get unconfused, I can go back and reread the previous part, or I could read ahead. I closed the door to her voice and pulled at the rack of clothes in the closet, hoping the jacket on the bedpost wasn't for me but my mean brother. No luck, I gave up. From my bed, I stared at the jacket. I wanted to cry because it was so ugly and so big that I knew I'd have to wear it a long time. I was a small kid, thin as a young tree, and it would be years before I'd have a new one. I stared at the jacket like an enemy, thinking bad things before I took off my old jacket, whose sleeves climbed halfway to my elbow. You don't have to write down any questions. Why don't you just share them? Anybody have any questions about this section? I had one, which was like a clarifying question. Anybody else? So I could ask you a question. You'll have all the answers. You'll know the answer, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why did he just give up?
So why, like, what do you mean, why did he just give up what?
Like, he just gave up.
Gave up on what?
Like, looking for the jacket.
I'm sorry, say it again?
Looking for the jacket. He just, like, stopped.
Okay, so why did he give up looking for the jacket? How many of you know the answer to that? Why did he give up looking for the jacket? Yes.
Because he went through all the clothes in his closet where his mom said the jacket.
Tell him. So wait, he looked through all the clothes and it wasn't, and keep going.
That's where his mom said it was.
So what is he assuming now?
That there's no mystery. It's just that it's gone.
No?
Or there's no jacket. The jacket that he wants is not there.
The jacket he wants is not there. All right, so let's keep reading. So now I'm on my third chunk. I put the big jacket on. I zipped it up and down several times and rolled the cuffs up so they didn't cover my hands. I put my hand in the pocket and flapped the jacket. That's okay. I put the big jacket on. I zipped it up and down several times and rolled the cuffs up so they didn't cover my hands. I put my hands in the pockets and flapped the jacket like a bird's wings. We'll finish when we come back. All right, so the next part right here. I'm not sure where we left off. Okay, so right here we'll read. I put the big jacket on. I zipped it up and down several times and rolled the cuffs up so they didn't cover my hands. I put my hands in the pockets and flapped the jacket like a bird's wings. I stood in front of the mirror, full face, then profile, then looked over my shoulder as if someone had called me. I sat on the bed, stood against the bed, and combed my hair to see what I would look like doing something natural. I looked ugly. I threw it on my brother's bed and looked at it for a long time before I slipped it on and went out to the backyard smiling a thank you to my mom as I passed her in the kitchen. With my hands in my pocket, I kicked a ball against the fence and then climbed it to, what does that say? Sit looking into the alley. I hurled orange peels at the mouth of an open garbage can, and when the peels were gone, I watched the white puffs of my breath thin to nothing. So raise your hand if you have any questions, whether it's in the text, pondering, or in my head? Yes.
Why did he say thank you to his mom if he doesn't like it?
Okay, so why does he say thank you?
That's simple. Yeah, really.
Not to be rude.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
No, he didn't say thank you. Yes, he did.
He smiled.
He meant it.
Thank you. Just so he wouldn't be. Just so he
No, he didn't say he said thank you. He said he smiled to thank you. Okay, another question. Yes. Yes.
I don't really, in the beginning, I don't really get what he's doing.
In the beginning of this, like what you need, like here's the thing. When you ask questions like this is what cracks me up. Like people will be like, they'll read like 3 paragraphs. I didn't get the whole entire thing. No, I didn't get it. Well, what do you mean you didn't get it? Well, I didn't get it. Well, what did you not get? The whole thing. So then I go back and I say, okay, well, let's look at each sentence. Do you get this part? Yeah. Do you get this part? Yeah. Do you get, well, then I guess you don't get, you do get some. So you have to be really specific on which part or what passage or what phrase do you not understand. So what do you mean? Like, what are you talking about when you say, I don't get what he's doing? Like, what part?
When you kept saying that he's doing a bunch of different things.
Okay, so like this part right here, he's putting the jacket on.
Yeah, like why is he doing these things?
So wait, you understand what he's doing, but you don't understand why he's doing it. Okay, so why is he doing all these actions? Okay. So all of these actions with the jacket on. All right. All right. So, give me one more question. Yes. Any other questions? Yes.
Why is this movie so bad?
Well, we are looking at parts that we're reading. We're not looking at the overall story right now. We're chunking it, and we're looking at parts. So are there any questions on this particular part? Okay. So what you're going to do now is this. I'm going to assign you your first reading in your novels. And what you're going to do is as you are reading, okay, you are going to do some annotating of questioning. Whether it is a question that you're totally confused on, and it's a clarifying question, a pondering question, or in my head question. So in your reader's notebook right now, I want you to open up to a brand new clean page. And I want you to title it Annotation Asking Questions. All right, and put down today's dates. This is classwork / HW homework, because if you don't finish in class, it's going to be homework. Okay? There is no rush, because when you're done with this assignment, you're going to have to do something else as well. So this is not a race. So I want you to title this Reading 1. Please don't get up until I tell you all to put their snacks away. And I will have the reading up here of what pages you're going to read. So what you're going to do as you are reading, anytime you have a question, okay, you're going to stop and you're going to jot that question down. But what you have to do is you have to tell me the page number the question occurred. So when you meet with your partner or your group and you still have this question, you can refer to the page. So for example, I would just say it was page number 6, and then I would write my question is, what does the phrase whatever mean? Okay, so it has to be in a question format. Okay, so if you want to do, you could just do one column could be the page. All right, and the next column could be the question. All right, so that's the first part of your assignment. Okay, the second part of your assignment is this. Go to skip like a page or two. All right, and what you're going to do is this. When you are done reading, this is going to be for homework. But if you get done with the first assignment, you can start in class. What I want you to do is you're going to complete a chart of your character and your supporting cast, their internal and external features. Now we know this because you did realistic fiction. You developed a character with internal and external features. So I want you to title this Homework. Today's date. What is it, the 18th? Excuse me, we're not talking right now. So I want you to title this Internal / external features. Now, the internal, I can't tell you how many because as many as there are. So internal are the things that we don't see. So these are the things that you're going to infer. Like maybe you think your character is the biggest jerk in the world. So you would write, my character's the biggest jerk, but you have to tell me why. Okay? Then your external are the things that we do see. This could be the family, hair color, where he lives, age, school, all that stuff. All right, so if you're Maniac McGee, these are the people that you're going to have to do. Obviously, you have to do Maniac. You're going to do John McNabb. Now, sit. You're going to do John McNabb. Now, listen. The minor characters, there's not going to be, sit. There's not going to be as many internal, external features as your main character. And you're doing the Pickwells. Okay? If you are loser, you only have to do Donald for right now.
I thought it was Zinko.
His name is Donald.
Then Donald Zinko.
Okay. And if you are Stargirl, you have to do 2 people. You're going to do the narrator. So you should be writing this down in your reader's notebook. And you're going to do Stargirl. Shh. This is not to be done quickly and without any care. Okay? These charts should be filled up. If you're reading 40 pages, you're learning a lot about your characters. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do, number 1, you're going to read the pages that I'm going to show you in a minute. Then you're going to, as you're reading, jot down in your notebook any questions you have and the page number. Okay, if you find the answer to your question, what I want you to do is just write the answer down next to the question. Okay, then when you're done with that for homework, you're going to start working, you're going to complete this internal and external features chart for each of the characters. For each of the characters that I just identified. Are there any questions on what to do? Pickwells. That's a W. Sorry. Any other question? When you come across this, you'll understand. You'll see the name and you'll be fully unconfused. Any other questions?
I have a question about this book.
Hold on. Do you have questions about the assignments? Okay. So what I want you to do now is go back to where you labeled questions.